If you're a B2B business, a B2B tech company, or a B2B marketer, you're in the right place. Coming to you from Studio 26, this is the Interesting B2B Marketers podcast, bringing you interesting contemporary takes, industry tips, guest interviews, and true stories from B2B marketers in the trenches. Now, here's your host, Steve Goldhaber.
Hey everybody, what's up? Welcome back to Studio 26 and the Interesting B2B Marketers podcast. Today, I'm happy to have Mark on the show. Welcome, Mark.
Thanks for having me, Steve. It's a pleasure.
All right, awesome. Let's just jump into who you are. So give us a 60-second description of your background.
Absolutely. I'm a marketer by trade, if you will. Been in marketing for about 15 years now, at fourth company now. Started at a bootstrapped kind of startup back in 2008, 2009. That is when I learned about HubSpot. We were trying to, save and kind of grow the company during the Great Recession. I was tasked with doing some marketing stuff after I joined. Okay, yeah, I can figure this out. Went to Google, typed in how to generate leads. HubSpot came up. Was at HubSpot for about 9 years. Was at Drift for 3.5 years after that. And now I've been at Airmeet for about 15 months. So B2B marketer, excited to be talking with you today.
Awesome. All right. You've done your tour duty at HubSpot. That's such a foundational element of the B2B world, more on the small and mid-market side, but I've been on that platform. They've done some cool stuff. All right. So this isn't a HubSpot infomercial. We're not gonna do that. They have their own press. All right. We're going to jump into case studies. And the first one you're going to share with us has to do with transforming a space from community-led into more member-led. So go ahead and take it away.
Absolutely. So this company is in the technology space, been around for 8 years now. And they had a tremendous amount of engagement on LinkedIn, podcasts, across the web, across social, across all these different places. And they were doing pretty good. They found product market fit. They were looking to now really double down and hone in on go-to-market fit and become, a really successful scale-up. From a startup to scale up, what they were facing was this fact around demand capture, not demand creation. They were great at demand creation.
Okay.
That's how I view community-led growth, demand creation. But how do you turn that demand and turn it into new business, but also convert the existing demand you have, through your customer install base into more demand? This transition to more of a member-led motion, not giving up the community-led, but moving into member-led. So that's kind of setting the table in terms of like some of the high-level problems, Steve.
Okay. That sounds good. All right. So good, juicy problem to have. How'd you approach it? What was kind of your thought on how to make that transition happen?
Get closer to the audience. So community is a confusing term for a lot of people. Community say, well, what's community? It can mean so many different things. I think of it in two simple, very easy to understand ways. One is the unowned community. A community that you do not own is everything that surrounds your brand, the people talking about your brand, interacting with the brand, engaging with the brand. I mean, heck, it's the reputation, right? I mean, you don't get to decide your reputation. Other people do. Then there's the owned community, a community that you have direct kind of ownership of, that you're looking to shape, not for other people, but with other people. Both are, you're building it with people and you're growing it with people. But the second kind of community is the one you own. And I like to refer to that as a member-led motion, where you're gathering up the members who've opted into having a more direct relationship with your brand into this community. And that's member-led. So that comes with a lot of benefits because you get a lot of first-party data. You get even zero-party data. You can do a lot of personalization. You get a lot more information about people, their motivations, their problems, what they are consuming. And that can, of course, help you with the demand capture and the convert demand motion. That is the thing that follows creating demand. So that's how I think about it. And I think there's a lot of companies kind of wanting to do this, but they're trying to figure out what this all means. First, it's recognizing that, you don't own your community, but you can have an owned community if you take a more, thoughtful approach.
Yeah. So how do you do that? I mean, is it you're creating content? Are you giving them access to things that they're not getting elsewhere? How do you get that ultimately, like the stickiness of that member-driven community?
Both. I mean, the simplest way that we did it in this case study example is around transforming what you would normally think as a resource center into a membership experience. And I believe that's the future of many websites, especially in B2B these days. You have these resource centers, that's all this great content, all these great resources, whatever, but they're actually filled with friction, filled with annoyances, not personalized. It's actually not easy for the marketer to collect data about people consuming that stuff because you have dozens, if not hundreds of landing pages. You have all these forms. It's disjointed. There's a lot of old material. No one can curate or create their own resource list. So for this example, we're like, look, what are the primary benefits of becoming a member? You can get all of our resources and some exclusive resources and content in this membership. Yes, we'll keep a lot of them ungated because that's how you acquire members organically. That's how you get great SEO benefits. That's fine. But the fact of the matter is you can still convert and download these resources one by one if you so choose, or better yet, you know what? If you just opt in and become a member, you get everything at once. We'll give you more personalized resources and you get custom stuff and you'll get other benefits outside of just content. And that's what we started seeing happening. It grew from 0 to 66,000 members in just about 3.5 years.
Wow. So are you bundling the membership price with what they're paying for the regular software, or is this a separate thing where they've got it's a separate package that they're paying for, or, it's just free? Anyone can sign up. They just have to authenticate.
It should be free. It's always free. I mean, you could maybe have a premium version, and we did for a little bit, which ended up not really panning out too much, but it's free. Just like a resource center is free. And this is where it gets confusing with people not even really understanding the idea of member-led or owned community. No, it's mostly free. I mean, there's some business models where I think you can justify a cost, but I would even say if you do have a monthly cost or annual cost to it, you should still offer either a free 30-day trial or just have a free plan.
Yep.
And that'd be my point of view, because that will help you convert more of that demand, right?
Yep.
Capture and convert more of that demand long term. So I see it as a marketing asset, not so much as a revenue generating asset.
Yep. Okay, that makes sense. Tell me about, you said you got it up to over 50,000 people. What's the behind the scenes team that is needed to run that? So how did you have to scale up on your own team to figure out, hey, if we're going to do this, we've got to make it a great experience?
Designers, video producers, content marketers, and web developers. And then you had if you really want to take it to the next level, you have someone focused on creating educational experiences that isn't just content, but it's content packaged in a way that's helping someone get to an outcome, which is at the end of the day what good education does. So you don't have to go to that length initially. That's a lot of investment up front. You could have your existing team, and they have the skill sets to do this. Even a team that's not full time, you might be working with an agency or whatever, freelancers who can build this, because most B2B companies already have this in place, going back to the resource center to membership experience idea. They just have not innovated their resource center in years, if ever. And this is something that you can do, right? And it's a reimagination of that customer experience. Yes, it's going to require some software. So you're either going to have to build some stuff using WordPress plugins or, other things that can be there, or you have to buy something that helps you create this membership experience. But even the cost of that is so insignificant given the benefits that you'll get from this. Just the data alone in terms of how much someone's consuming, what are they consuming, and then giving that to your sales team and giving it to them in a more digestible manner so they can do more personalized and timely follow-up, and then having them be able to use the membership experience as the carrot at the end of the stick to educate the buyer, to keep them in the market, or move them from out of market into the market. For the solution you sell, there's too many benefits.
Yeah. So the thing I like about these communities is it's the members who are interacting with each other. They're contributing, they're adding value. Sometimes they're even answering Q&A that the company might normally do, but then the members just kind of resolve that. But the one thing that's always interesting to see play out is when there's a mutiny among the members and something's happening at the company who's hosting that community and they're upset, whether it's bugs or whether it's feature functionality. So did you ever experience that where there was just an organic movement of members kind of demanding something get fixed or something be reprioritized? How did that go for you?
I mean, yeah, you definitely, I wouldn't say it was the full membership, but I mean, the best membership experiences you can create are an intersection of your customers, prospects, and even partners or channel, whatever, right? It's a blend of all these people. And there'll always be louder voices than others, but the reason why this motion is so good is it puts the people at the center of the experience. I'm a big advocate of people first go to market. We talk about it in the club that we have. We have a club called Club PF. You can sign up for it. And Club PF is all about how do you create a people first go to market. And that means every experience puts the person at the center of the experience. So the question you asked is around, well, you have people that are super passionate or want something maybe fixed or improved. That's great. Fix it with them in public. Do it in a way that helps you build a better, more trusted reputation. So as long as the company is listening and there's someone there, a group of people there to help respond and engage with that feedback, engage with those people, I have not seen any downsides. I've only seen upsides because it shows that you're an authentic, honest brand that cares about the things that matter to its customers, matter to its potential customers. I think it's only a good thing.
Yep. All right, cool. Thanks for sharing the first case study. I want to jump into the second one now. This one is all about creating a category in a crowded marketplace, something that a ton of B2B marketers are probably just faced with all the time. So
let's go
jump into number 2. Take it away.
So first off, there's a ton of different types of categories. You can think of them in 2 different levels though. Thought leadership versus product. The first thing people get wrong, everyone thinks, not everyone, but a lot of people, I should say, think about, got to create a category. Well, why would I create a category with that? Because it doesn't make any sense. Well, actually, it makes a lot of sense if you think about it from a thought leadership brand standpoint versus a very product-specific category that they would talk about in Gartner, Forrester, etc. So that's just something to recognize. So in this example, this company had a problem, very crowded market, dozens of competitors, needed a way to stand out, and decided that they needed to create a thought leadership type of category. And one of the best ways to create a thought leadership type of category is to associate it with something already in the minds of people. So the association principle. And that's what this company did. So they took this idea and applied it to this kind of discipline, in this case of marketing, to technology company again. And they were able to have people reimagine and rethink what this solution meant to a business and made it so that other competitors and other people in the marketplace, no matter if it's competitors or just other people, would buy into it as well.
Yeah. So you mentioned a lot of companies who were competing. Was this a defensive thing? Meaning was the business declining and they needed to turn it around? Or was this more of like a proactive offensive move to gain market share? Help us understand what was going on within the marketplace.
Offensive move to create brand awareness, brand recognition for the brand a little bit, but more for this new way, this new point of view, story, education about how to use this solution in new and better ways.
Yeah. Okay. How long did it? I'm going to break the 2-part question here. So one is, how long did it take for you to get to that clarity around this is how we're going to position ourselves? And then the second part is the execution. How long did it take
a couple months of clarity,
to build
and then
implement
execution never ends. As always, so with category creation, you never stop executing it until it's exhausted and you move on to the next kind of category, which is usually years, if not decade plus away. The most important thing, though, when you're creating any type of category, product, thought leadership, or both, is you have to get the entire company behind it. And that's been a little bit of a struggle, I think, for this company as well, where everyone needs to understand it, believe in it, get it, and evangelize it. Because if not everyone in the company is doing then having everyone that you try to, interact with in the market around this category becomes harder, right? So it's that is a thing that I've seen firsthand be one of the most important things when it comes to category creation. But this is something that never stops in terms of execution. You're only trying to build more momentum as you continue to bring it into the minds of new people and hopefully get them to believe in it so much that it becomes part of their heart, right? The mind, the heart, the soul. At the end of the day, a good category becomes the soul of the business in many ways, where it's almost, it's really kind of part of the ethos of that brand, and the brand archetype, if you will, is there to, bring it forward in a way that is very value centric, meaning the category isn't here to talk so much about us and us and us. It's about how we together can make this thing, this problem, this whatever opportunity, be valuable for whomever cares about it. So it's like that give get. It's like give, and that's what good category designers do. And what they get back at some point in return is revenue and profit. But it's a give mindset first.
Yep. All right, that makes sense. So fast forward, a year or later after you've developed this, what's going on in the marketplace? Are other companies being acquired? Are they divesting? Tell us what
Other
happened.
companies have definitely picked up on it. And, I think with many categories, competitors don't like to talk about it because well, it's not mine. But like you actually want competitors to talk about it. And some are talking about it. The key is, are your customers talking about it? And if your customers are talking about it and other like neutral, non-competitive and just non-customers talk about it, then you start to see these momentum. And that's what's happening. It's starting to gain a lot of steam. One of the easiest ways to judge how well it's going is just search traffic. The ranking and traffic to these keywords that are related to the category. How often is it being talked about and used in conversations with customers and buyers? How is it resonating in the marketplace across, social communities? Just that community that surrounds the brands. How many people are talking about it there and then. So yeah, it's definitely going well, and I really believe it's been validated. Now it's about just continuing the drumbeat.
Yep. I like that, continuing the drumbeat. It's a good metaphor for knowing that you're never done playing music. You can have your greatest hits and all that, but like you just got to keep on inventing new stuff. All right, cool. Let's go jump into Q&A. I want you to tell us about your
Chaotic. It
first
was during
gig
the
in
Great
marketing. What was it
Recession.
like?
I wasn't even a marketer, right? I typically was doing research at this company. I guess I transitioned to full-time marketing for a little bit. HubSpot taught me a lot about what I know about marketing early days. I was very much an inbound focused type of marketer. I become much more horizontal and broader than that now. So I had a huge play in this, but like that's where everything. So that's a mindset that I'll never let go of, where the more you can market with people and not for people, that is the mindset you need to have.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to jump into your time at HubSpot. I've used the platform for a long time. I've been to Inbound, which is their big annual conference, which is really good. They spend a ton of money on Inbound to get some great speakers. So I've always enjoyed that event. Give us like an inside the look at culturally what it's like to work there. Like what were you doing there?
The
What was it like
company's
to be on
incredible. I can't say enough
different
good things
teams
about
there?
HubSpot. It goes right from leadership down. So Dharmesh and Brian, the co-founders, are incredibly thoughtful and caring leaders that have purposefully created a culture with the employees that tries to truly embody what inbound means. There's a set of principles named HEART. I believe it still stands for humble, empathetic, adaptable, remarkable, and transparent. That last one is super key, transparent. I've never seen a more transparent culture. I've worked at 2 companies after that. Not even, one was close, but nothing even compares to the level of HubSpot transparency that I saw and witnessed. I joke, I got like 2 masters in business administration at HubSpot, one pre going public, one post going public, because just the amount of context they would give to the employees, and I still think they do this today, and the amount of information and open dialogue that they encourage through the wiki, which is a huge piece of the HubSpot culture. I know that's still kicking today in a big way, is incredible. So communication is everything for a company, both internally and externally, and they just excel at that.
Yeah. You know what I really enjoyed about HubSpot is what they did and said on their site and in their product, I felt at least like they were doing it in real life. And one of the funniest things I remember is filling out, I wanted to buy a ticket to HubSpot's conference. And as part of that registration process, they gave me access to the letter that I could give my boss to request money to go. And it just was a great piece of content marketing where they wrote it for me and they were like, it's a 2-page letter on, hey, Steve here. I'm looking to go to this conference because this is how it's going to help meet my goals at this company. And I want to learn X, Y, and Z. And this is a good way for you to support me. And I've never seen anything that specific. And it's, the reality is the conference was going to be approved, right? Like I knew I had the budget to go to it. But the fact that they were showing me through content or inbound marketing, look, we help you get what you want through this philosophy. And I've always looked at that as such a great example of like, yep, this is a company that isn't just selling software. They've transformed
It's a great
their entire
example.
company to believe it. What are some things in the spirit of inbound that you see changing over the next couple of years? AI is obviously the obvious one, and HubSpot's been starting to play around with how do they, integrate that into some of the content creation tools. But besides AI, what are you
I see
seeing
five
as
things.
a trend?
This goes back to my notion around people first. And that's definitely inspired by some of the inbound stuff. Absolutely. So one is content explosion. It's only going to get worse with AI now. And yeah, content, it's probably, it's right now, I would say it's like a necessary evil. Like, right. Like it is what it is. Then you have channel saturation. There's way less new channels being built than in the last 10 to 20 years. Phew, tough. Lots of factors there. Cost of acquisitions going up, attention, all this stuff. And then there's more niche channels too. So that's a good thing, but also a hard thing. Third thing would be privacy. Privacy, death of cookies, legislation, all this stuff. Will continue to make marketing and selling and all this stuff harder. Fourth would be the pandemic. The pandemic has forever changed how we live and how we work, has really created some interesting dispersion of not only people, but then how ideas actually become something of value, how you connect with people, what people are willing to do and not do. Some of that might die off. I don't think a lot of it will. Like, I think there's just too many habits ingrained. Couple that with just the continued focus on the digitalization of our lives. It's kind of like a train that's left the station. And then the fifth is AI, the convergence of AI, artificial plus human intelligence, how all that play out. So some of those are much further along. Some are like much, just kind of maybe kind of getting started in the last, say, couple years, 5 years, but they all are impacting people, not marketers, people. Marketers are trying to react to what's impacting people in as much of a proactive way as you can, but a lot of times it's just reactive. So I always look at to see what are the things that are impacting people right now, or will/could be. One of them is probably also spatial computing. That is a perfectly executed category design, and spatial computing will be, in my opinion, probably more significant than AI long term, because AI is just stuff you can't see. You can feel the outcomes, you can feel the effects, which is good, but you don't really at the end of the day know if it's AI or not AI or like all the permutations AI will take. What you will be able to touch is spatial computing. So buy more Apple stock. I'm not a stock, pick my opinion, but that is a brilliantly, that's a thing that's going to have an impact in my opinion.
Yeah. All right. So going back to the 5 things that you mentioned. So those are all big challenges for B2B marketers. How do you stand out, right? Like the obvious answer is, well, let's create better content, right? Or we can't just be writing about things and saying things. We have to build things that are valuable. Like beyond that, what do you think are the ways that marketers can
First,
stand out
partner
given
with more
that they're
people.
faced
I
with
call
so
it
many
partner-led
obstacles?
growth. Partner with individuals, partner with communities, companies, brands. Take relationships and turn them into some type of either a lightweight or very structured partnership. You enter into a partnership every time you sign up a customer. They sign a contract. That's a partnership. So use your partner with your customers more, right? Outside of just the commercial agreement, or bake it into the commercial agreement that you're going to do things with them to support them. That's going to support you to spin that word of mouth flywheel. But partner-led is super important. Like you're doing it right now. You're partnering with me, even though we don't have a contract per se, kind of a contract, right? You say, here's what you can expect. There's an email, there's things. Some podcasts actually have contracts. So anyway, it's kind of in between, but go to market with people, not alone as a brand. If you try to do that on your own, brand spam is rampant. Brand spam is crap, in my opinion, at this point, because everyone does it. So make your brand have a lot more people that represent the brand and not the brand trying to represent itself out in the market. And then we talked about like community-led, member-led, and customer-led. Community-led is the tip of the spear. But a lot of people think community-led is something you do like after someone becomes a customer. Like, no. That is, again, that's probably your owned community. You're owning a community, and a portion of that audience and that owned community is your customer segment. But community-led is everything that happens around the brand. And lean into that. Like lean into engaging with people, lean into it, training and enabling, activating your employees to be part of the community. Because once you have a couple of employees, they're the community. Like they are the initial force of the community. And now it's on them to partner with people to grow it.
Yeah.
So it's just this people first go to market motion that we talk a lot about inside of Club PF is where I'm betting a lot of this is going to go to, because I always say that, you can't deny this, the tide goes out, the tide comes in. We are going through a massive tidal shift in B2B go to market. And we're hopefully going to get away from being so software obsessed to be more people obsessed, because the software that the people have been managing is going to manage itself soon enough.
Yeah. Good way to put it. All right, looking back on your marketing career, what are some things that you've learned, whether it's about yourself or just different ways to do good or bad marketing? Like, what do you see as the big
Listen
takeaways
more.
that you're
Just
like, man, I wish I would have known this
Like,
sooner?
spend more time listening. Always be capturing. I learned that pretty early, though. As you listen, always be capturing your ideas, thoughts, action items. Practice your ABCs, as Google would say. Practice your ABCs. I learned that from Google. Be a data-driven marketer, like data-driven, but then also, of course, have the art, the empathy of marketing as well. Data is very important, and I wish I even earlier like understood the data side, but like not just the marketing data, the data of the company. Like, what is the financial aspects of how this company makes money and retains that money that they make? If you can understand both those things and apply with a marketing lens, you're going to be in a pretty good spot, I think.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I've heard that come up so much on this podcast as well as just other daily conversations I've had. Is the marketers that can think like a CEO, meaning they understand how the business runs, how you make money, how you lose money. You just have more credibility at the table because you can speak the language of the business. And without that, you run the risk of just being perceived as a marketer who is either just doing fun things or is out of touch. So that's a great lesson to wrap up with. Mark, I want to thank you for your time. Thanks for sharing your experiences with our audience. And thank you to the listeners for coming back again. I hope you're enjoying the show. You can listen to the show on Apple, on Spotify, and we also archive everything on the 26 Characters website. So feel free to go there to download any previous
Thank you, Steve. Take care.
podcast. All right. Thanks again, Mark. Have a great day.
Thanks for tuning in to the Interesting B2B Marketers podcast. Be sure to subscribe wherever you heard this podcast so you never miss an episode. If you found value in today's episode, please help grow the podcast by sharing with others and leaving a review. We'll see you next time.